Have you ever turned on your computer and instead of doing what you want, you spend the first few minutes waiting for updates? Or maybe your PC used to feel fast, but after a few years it became slower and slower. More background apps, more notifications, more things running that you never asked for. Most people think the only choices are Windows or macOS. But there is another option that millions of people use every day. It's called Linux. And no, Linux is not just a black screen with complicated commands. Modern Linux can browse the web, watch YouTube, play games, edit videos, write documents, and do almost everything a normal person does on their computer. So today, let's talk about why Linux might actually be better than you think. One thing that surprises many people after trying Linux is how much control you have. With Windows, Microsoft decides a lot of things for you. How updates work, what apps come pre-installed, what services run in the background. Linux gives that control back to you. You can choose how your desktop looks. You can remove things you don't need. You can make your computer simple and minimal, or completely customize it. Imagine buying a phone where you can completely change the interface. That's basically what Linux feels like. Your computer stops feeling like a product you rent. It becomes something you own. But let's talk about the most important questions. Can you actually use Linux as a normal person? The answer is yes. For everyday tasks, Linux works extremely well. Browsing the internet, Chrome and Firefox work. Watching YouTube works. Writing documents, you have alternative like LibreOffice. Listening to music, plenty of apps available. Video calls, Discord, Zoom, and other communication apps work. For many people, 90% of what they do on computer happens inside a browser anyway, and Linux handles that perfectly. One of the biggest advantages of Linux is performance. Many computers don't become slow because the hardware is bad. They become slow because modern operating systems require more and more resources. Linux has lightweight versions that can run beautifully on older machines. That 5-year-old laptop sitting in your closet, it might still have years of life left. Instead of buying a new computer, Linux can give your old one a second chance. Now, let's talk about gaming. A few years ago, gaming on Linux was complicated. Today, the situation is completely different. Thanks to tools like Proton from Steam, thousands of Windows games can run on Linux. Games like Counter-Strike 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk, many games work surprisingly well. In fact, Valve's Steam Deck runs on Linux, and millions of people are using a Linux-based device to play games. Is every single game perfect? No. Some games with certain anti-cheat systems still have problems, but for many gamers, Linux is now a real option. Another reason people move to Linux is privacy. Most people don't think about their operating system, but your operating system is the foundation of everything you do on your computer. Linux gives you more transparency. You know what software is installed. You know what services are running. You have more control over your data. Instead of your computer constantly trying to collect information or push things toward you, Linux gives you a cleaner experience. The biggest reason people don't try Linux is simple. They think it's too difficult. And honestly, this reputation comes from the past. Today, installing Linux can be as easy as installing Windows. Distributions like Linux Mint, Ubuntu, and Fedora are designed for normal users. You don't need to know programming. You don't need to use the terminal every day. You can't install apps with a software store. You can use your computer normally. The terminal exists, but you don't have to afraid of it. Linux isn't perfect. Windows is still better for some professional software and certain games, but Linux has changed. It's no longer just for developers and computer enthusiasts. It's an operating system for people who want more control, better privacy, a faster computer, and a computer that actually feels like theirs. If you've never tried Linux before, you don't need to delete Windows tomorrow. Try it in a virtual machine, install it on an old laptop, create a live USB. You might discover that Linux isn't the complicated system you imagined. It might actually be the operating system you've been looking for.